to us about the developments of Awqaf in Tanzania. Jazakallah khairan. Dr. Hussein, over to you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. It is time for Dhuhri prayer. Now the Imam is about to start it, but I will remain to make this presentation. I'm sharing the slides with you. I don't know if they can be seen.
Can see? It's fine.
Can you see?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It was there just now. Right, there we go. You can see the slide.
Okay, but now I don't see myself, the slides. Okay. First of all, I know the time left for us is a little bit constrained, but I may introduce myself. I am the founding chairman of Awqaf Tanzania, and we have made this an apex organization, okay, with a mission to create, mobilize, acquire, and utilize WAQF assets effectively. So we invited over 100 organizations together, but 54 organizations responded immediately. And these 54 organizations, a number of them are very successful. We can say big ones, which includes mosques, but foundations, councils, and also some well-to-do NGOs. Now, when we met, actually, we agreed to have an apex organization that will unite, and we endeavored to mold ourselves with the South African practice, which to us has been very successful. Our Muslim assets is summarized in this slide, with about 3 universities, 7 teachers' colleges. We have over 300 primary schools and 230 secondary schools. Radio, in terms of press, we have about 9 radios and 3 TV stations. We have newspaper, prints, and we have about 5,000 mosques and over 20,000 madrasas. This is a notable achievement, but with a lot of difficulty to have attained this. And the methodology that I used actually constraining development as such. Our situational analysis, I may not put the exactly the SWOT analysis, but to summarize, you can see in this 2023 slide of WAQF institutions in sub-Saharan Africa, but it also includes Nigeria for comparison reasons. We have divided Tanzania into 2 parts. One is mainland and the other one is Zanzibar. Generally, our performance is not as pathetic as it may look like, but it is far from what we could have done, actually. We have some observations regarding crowdfunding, cash waqf approach, which we would like to do and to take. But basically, our geopolitical landscape brings a number of issues, and we look like we can overcome some of these. For example, Tanzania is made of 2 countries, but it is one ummah, so 2 jurisdictions. So there is a division there. We have different legislation and different governance, but population brings a question, a dialogue question. Does a majority or minority become an issue in WAQF? Maybe yes, maybe no. In South Africa, they're only 3%, but they are doing a lot. So to us, that perspective brings it a different view. But on the other, if you have a big population and you claim to have a big population of Muslims, which are in abject poverty, that means you also look at the size of what WAQF can do and the need for WAQF to address issues of Muslims and so on. But about secularism and freedom, we have some question. If we have secular and freedom laws, do these actually in the same level? Is the playing field leveled for both of us? We have some reservations in a number of issues, but do religious groups register and attended? Well, we have seen delays and so on. So actually, we have to have different strategies to succumb some of our challenges. We have a law, an enactment, an administration act, but this act actually, Section 140 of the Probate and Administration Act, is not operational. Okay, so since it has been enacted, it doesn't really, and that may be good and may not be very good, depending on how. If it doesn't operate, it means we can govern ourselves in a number of ways. We have the Government Registration, Insolvency and Trusteeship Agency, RITA. It recognizes WAQF. It oversees WAQF trustees registration. And it is very procedural in its operations and so on. We are still looking for our Awqaf Tanzania to be registered, but it keeps on being on and off, either in the constitution or review of this or review of that. We hope maybe in 2-3 other months, we may have also registration by RITA. We have registration by Ministry of Health under Societies Registration Act, but it took 5 years to have that registration. Meanwhile, we chose to identify our challenges here and there through a SWOT analysis, and we see similar problems shared in the previous presentation: lack of awareness, mismanagement, perceptions of effectiveness, the role of modern NGOs, replacing WAQF. So, in summary, WAQF status requires to address, centralized public record for us, for our assets, focus on the WAQF purpose, diverse nature. We have very small land, half an acre. Sometimes we have a big land, which we cannot do anything as we are now. So valuing also is a difficult, obstacle. How much, if you ask me, is your net worth? I cannot say. We have 4 experiences, where 2 of which are success and 2 are unsuccess. The successful aspect of all the WAQF institutions, mostly mosques, inherited many WAQFs. They developed them, and alhamdulillah, their performance has been good in the last 25 years. But much of this in the last 5 years, since we called, stakeholders in the last meeting 5 years ago. Then we have a second success category, mosques that are established recently, and they have good structure and they perform very well and they have a record and they have board of trustees. But we also, the third, in the unsuccessful, we have institutions, mostly mosques. They have failed to develop their property, their works to make them productive. And also we have the old institutions with just like committees of Maulid and Eid, which had plenty of prime lands, but they have been lost or taken. The last one has been taken last 18 months by the government, the famous property in Temeke, Mumbayang. And we don't have any replacement because it's the government that took that property. Now, let me go to generalization with current sort. We have been able to build the bridges, getting support of most of our Muslim councils, the Bakwata, Hayat Ulama, Baraza Kuu, and also from our members. We have established unity among stakeholders, and they can now work among themselves for joint projects. But more collaboration among different WAQF institutions with joint work projects, are being negotiated here and there. Our SOT actually identified 5 areas, which we call them challenges: weak capacity of Mutawali, low level of public awareness, lack of reliable database, values, also disputed WAQF, and low trust corporations because of trust levels. Our solutions are capacity building, technical advisory, research, building WAQF, disputive. Hello? Okay, should I stop, or I hear some background?
No, just...
Okay, 2 more minutes. These are simple cases of type 1. We have 2 examples of a masjid which did not do well in terms of utilizing their property. Another one is a prominent masjid and tariqa organization that has 426 madrasas, but it has 8 WAQF properties. It could have been 12, but 4 are contested. And they have between 50 and 200 students in their madrasas, 6 of which are residential madrasas. But they could benefit from those, type 2, which in terms of successful WAQF to create value for their properties. So working together is what we are trying to do. Our type 2 example is a case study, for example, of Asas Trust. It was established 25 years. It has several buildings specialized in ownership, management, and operations. Their focus is maximizing property value, so they create value for underperforming assets. And they support training of madrasa, teaching of madrasa teachers, and small grants to support dawah. We have similar organizations, about 5 or 6 like these foundations. We also have another example of type 2, we call the Nurain Foundation, is based in upcountry in Iringa, but they do a number of projects all over the country. And this one, they have more than 230 mosques, 45 madrasas and teachers college, about Ibtidai and Mutawasit and Tawani. They have schools, they have dispensaries and radio, and empowering needy families, and they meet a lot of orphanages and things like that, which are. Then we have Islamic Foundation, is a very one of our trustees is running this Islamic Foundation. Sheikh Arif Nahdi, a very popular Islamic leader. Over 1,600 mosques across the country, over 3,000 boreholes. They have 7 schools, which are secondary and primary. Health center, media, they have TV, radio, and they have newspaper, over 800 orphanage, and 6 mahad. Islamia, these are colleges for theology and fiqh and so on. Another case study is the Islamic Development Foundation, is a quiet organization, similar in name, but the previous one is without the word development. This one was established in 2010. It has a teachers college, 12 secondary schools, 3 primary, about 7 primary schools, and a lot of kindergartens, over 10. Now, we have developed and promoted cash waqf methodology, which are in the offing. This is Waqf Nukud. A month ago, we embarked on, but already we have examples of this cash waqf or Waqf Nukud. And these examples, actually, some had started since 2017, okay, or even before, okay. This is an example of case study type 2 of the foundation, with IPC, with a lot of development in the area of education, but also in dispensary or health services. And they are pioneers in Islamic paneling in the secular education. They represent us in a number of ways. Now, crowdfunding example has been done by Al Khairiyah since 2017. They have been using Facebook, pioneered by Sheikh Zaid Hussein and former ambassador Dr. Saeed Abdul Qadir. During its 9-year tenure, they have built 37 mosques to date, with very humble, mosque by mosque fundraising, and it has worked very well. So with this one, we have developed a waqf for Hayat al-Ulama. From their request, they are one of our members. And this is the model that we have developed for them. And we will be working as Nadir. We will be Mutawali for 3 to 6 months until they can stand up with their own independent Sharia organ within the organization. Now, international participation, we have an illustration of direct aid. This illustration shows how international participation can work with us. Last year, during the day of Arafah, they were able to raise in one day what was required for a hospital, a 300-bedroom hospital in Dar es Salaam. This hospital is now ready. It has got staff and it will be operational on July 1st. But direct aid has been, raising a lot of funding for different projects run by them on different fronts and needs, and small by small, and they operate in a number of ways. We have thought about how we would like to go forward, and our conclusion is we know our awareness among our Muslim Ummah is very little or low, so the needs also are very high. And WAQF will be very significant if we can be successful. We also know we are 61 million, and if 35% or 65% or 50% are Muslim, they are part of the majority needy one because they are in the abject poverty threshold. So in other words, our challenge is to bring these into mainstream economic, social, spiritual, and educational front. The current secular setup should not actually be considered to work favorably for us, although our advocacy there is part and parcel of our work. But we also have identified few Muslim middle income class that can make a difference if we mobilize them. And we have started to mobilize them. They are also part and parcel of our board of trustees, but we are looking for their reach. And once they are on board, we can do a lot. We also consider international Muslim organization to help us during the initial capacity building and setup phase before we can actually generate funds from sukuk, from loans, and so on to have economic. Actually, we are really, really impressed by South Africa, and we see that modeling could work very well for us, because if they're only 3% and they can do a lot, and within a period of 2025, so we can also do that. But only the takeoff is what I personally fight off and request everybody to help us in the takeoff. So we foresee that WAQF losses, abuse, and so on will be on the decline drastically because of the fiqh and the arrest of abuse that we are now embarking on from mosque to mosque. Modern WAQF practices of creating value has been understood. And we have some institutions like halal money, halal economy. We have also accepted in the capital markets, in the microfinance. We have Tampro and the like. We have SACCOSs. And hopefully in the next 25 years, we'll be able to also help some other economies and the like. We look forward for at least 4 areas. One, in the takeoff, to partner, network, and collaborate with different organizations that can help us just to take off in the area of capacity building for running our initial office setup, organization, project writing, project development, project execution, and things like that. We are all volunteers so far. We have not been able to have any staff, and therefore it's sometimes difficult even to have meeting, and we expect to meet through visual mechanisms. And if there is any assistance in competency in resource mobilization. We thank you very much, and sorry for taking a longer time than. Thank you very much.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan, Barakallahu Feek. Thank you very much, Dr. Hussein Ustad. It's been also quite an enlightening presentation, because when you started off, you gave us quite a few, a picture of the different organizations and institutions that you already have in Tanzania, the schools, universities, colleges, the radios, the media, TV station, the number of mosques, the madrasas, and so forth. And of course, you rightly pointed out, again, there's lots of potential, a big Muslim population, and you've got the example of Zanzibar there, which is a majority Muslim as well. And you've got a WAQF commission there, a WAQF board there, and a WAQF act that already functions in Zanzibar. So